Alright, hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got something super exciting for you. I recently came across a deck that made it to the top 8 in Asia Finals, and I think it's one you're definitely going to want to try out. It's the OP-09 Leader Limb deck, and in this video I'm going to walk you through how to use it effectively in OP-10. Share some strategies and even show you how to tweak it for different play styles. Whether you're new to this deck or looking to take your gameplay to the next level, I'm really hoping that this video may be for you. So let's just start off with the star of this deck. That's OP-09 Leader Lim. Lim is known for her versatility and the ability to build incredible pressure on your opponent. Her ability can provide massive tempo shifts, which is key to her success in competitive play. Her effect is really strong because it allows you to manipulate cards and force your opponent into tough situations. So, and what I mean by manipulate, you are quintessentially playing 3 Dawn or resting 3 Dawn to play 5 cost characters, and then ramping up 1 Dawn every turn to therefore reach 9 or 10 Dawn before your opponent, regardless if you go first or second. So I think in OP-10 this leader can be quite effective, but there are some adjustments and card synergies you'll need to master. But let's get into the core strategy and how you can make the most out of Lim's power. So first off, let's talk about the cards that make this deck tick. You're going to want to focus on cards that can either boost Lim's ability or work well with her strategic tempo. Some key cards to include would be Sabo here when attacking. Once per turn, if you have 3 or more rested characters in play, draw 1, and that's going to be played off of, whoops-a-daisies, let me bring her back. Alright, so leader ability, you're gonna, all your characters enter the play rested. That's not a thorn in the side, especially when the cards play off of each other, or you unrest cards with so many rested, so we'll get into that in a minute. But activate main once per turn. You may rest 3 of your Dawn, set up to 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck as rested, then play a cost 5 or lower Odyssey type character from your hand. So getting into the Odyssey type characters and starting with Sabo, we run 4 of these, and basically you're going to swing and keep drawing cards with him. Moving forward, Don Quixote, Don Flamingo, he is a very important blocker for this deck because we need blockers on the field if we're going to want to go ahead and play into our Zoro. And just real quick, let me remove these Eustace kids. That should actually be, just for the sake of the Asia Final deck that was used, I don't want it to be different. I personally run 4 of those Eustace kids. And maybe I'll make another video on those, but for now, let's just stick to this one. Save. Alright. And I'll come back to these 3 cards here. I just want to move forward with the 5 cost and under cards that are Odyssey type, because they're the ones that I think are the core. We could do without these. I've seen people play the 8 cost Eustace Kid and the Shanks that removes Arrested. So, and then I've even seen people play 4 of these guys. But moving forward, I've got 2 Don Quixote Rosinantes. They are just 2 more blockers, bringing us to 6 total blockers in the deck. Something to remember with him, once your opponent attacks once per turn, you can set this character as active, but most people will be swinging in on this character if he's rested. It's just, the smart thing to do. With him rested, I want to be able to get him out on my turn 2 if I have 3 or 4 Dawn. For 3 Dawn, I'll have him out, and most of the time people tend to attach all their Dawn and swing in, but that's okay. We can do without that. That just means that we extended another turn, saving our life, since it's something to keep in mind that she's only got 4 life. So the big key factor is either build a board or build the Dawn, and maybe next turn we can play another blocker. But the Nico Robin, there's only one that was in that deck that I saw, and I think anything more might be too much, because I find myself only using her when I'm going against someone like Blackbeard or Lucci, Smoker, someone that we clearly know is a board removal, and to keep in mind that you can bottom deck and you can still trash cards. She doesn't prevent that from happening. Now getting back into it, we've got 2 Portcus D Aces. His Plus side is he can rest, so the more the merrier. He can rest a 5 cost or under. The Uso Hachis can rest a 5 cost or under, and so can the Edward Newgate. So that's a total of 8 cards that I can rest from playing out from hand, as long as we are mindful of the board and what's happening. Next up, Lim. If you only have 3 Dawn and you don't have a 5 cost, don't forget to still use Lim's leader ability, because you're going to ramp up and then play her, even though it's for the same amount of Dawn. The point is to ramp up on the Dawn every turn. But she'll let you look through the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal 1 Odyssey type. So if I'm looking for, let's say, Nico Robin, I can actually look for her through Trafalgar Law, which he searches for Heart Pirates or Straw Hat Crew, and then alternatively I can search for Nico with Lim, just in case we're trying to protect our characters from a board, like a complete board removal. Edward Newgate, we run 2 of these. He will rest a 5 cost or less and KO up to one of your opponent's rested characters that are 3 or less. And I think just these 2 are the perfect amount. And I see a lot of decks running pretty much the same format, so not to take anything away from anybody. I've got 4 Enels. These also came out in OP-10 along with what was added in OP-10 that I think here, yeah, the Edward Newgates and the Dracula Mihawk. So Enel lets you draw 3 cards and trash 2. 1k counter, I tend to use him a lot for the 1k counters, and the plus side is just having another 5 cost 6,000 power on board early. Dracula Mihawk, he's used to unrest your character, so if you, let's say you place a lot of Dawn on an early swinging character, maybe you put 4 Dawn on him or something, 3, whatever it may be, he swings big, and you can play Dracula Mihawk for 3 costs with leader ability, and he'll unrest Don Quixote, and you'll be able to swing again, or whatever character that may be. He's gonna set up to one of your cost 5 or lower Odyssey characters as active. Next up, Nami, perfect. Very on play effect is, I think, it's great when people are playing off of those Dawn 10 characters, or need, like if the big mom's coming next, then just you can actually use her on play with your rested characters on board to one of their Dawn won't be active. So that's really cool. Or 2 mainly for her 2k counter. And I think keeping the 4 in here is very viable. Lim, we've got 4 of these, 1 cost. Not much to say about her other than I think she's a necessity for this deck to keep your characters unrested, so that way when you swing at the end of your turn, you want to be able to keep unresting your characters so they're not vulnerable to taking hits. And I can't wait to show you how this card it works. And again, this is another one that was released in OP-10. Lastly, 4 Trafalgar Laws. These will be searching for your Zoros, and it's another play. It's only 1 cost to get a character rested on the field, just in case you need to use one of their abilities. And lastly, the Uso Hachis. If you have 8 or more Dawn, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with 5 or less. The plus side is his 2k counter, and just for 3 costs, you can rest a 5 or under, a 5 cost or under character. Not to forget about these 3 characters, if you're not familiar with them. 10 cost Don Quixote Doflamingo will rest, or he will freeze 3 characters, including a leader that is already rested. The Adio, however you pronounce that, his on play, you're going to unrest 3 Dawn. So if you had 10 Dawn, you played him, you unrest 3, now you have 4 Dawn. Maybe use leader ability to play a blocker, leaving 1 active Dawn, so you can play that off of his other ability, which is when the opponent attacks once per turn, you may rest one of your Dawn, and then one of your leader characters gains 2,000 for the turn. And then imagine just a couple of these on the board. We've got ourselves a nice defense up. But the big swinger in this deck is the Zoro. So again, make sure the goal is to search for them early, build up the Don quick, and get blockers on the field so that way we can swing with him. He pretty much when attacking once per turn, you will rest one Don and you'll set this character as active. Also, he's got an activate main once per turn. You'll rest two Don and set this character as active, so you can swing quintessentially for 3 times. So this is the limb deck that I saw online. This was used at the Asia Finals, and it placed top 8. So I decided to build it. I've been wanting to play with Lim, going from Uda. So let's just get right into it. So as far as strategy goes, the key to Lim's leader ability is managing our Dawn deck efficiently. And so by setting that 3 Dawn rested, pulling 1 Dawn from our Dawn deck, we get a chance to play powerful Odyssey character for only 5 costs or less. So to start things off, we're going to keep not Mulligan because I have a 1 cost that I can play on turn 1. And this is perfect. We already found the Zoro, so... And remember, with her, I think with our characters that enter the play rested, this can throw off our opponent's strategy. And then I think they'll also need to adjust to the fact that we're building a board at an accelerated pace. So with her ability, it's going to bring out strong characters early with minimum costs. And that gives us, I think, incredible tempo. I think this is a very aggressive green deck. I just absolutely love it. So turn 2, we're gonna go ahead and send Sabo out. I'm gonna activate leader ability, rest 3, gaining 1. We're at 4 Dawn now. We'll swing for 5, and then we have a 6 cost. We have a 5 cost, 6,000 power character on board, and that's our turn 2. So remember, the goal is to build the board and capitalize on the speed, swarm the board, and apply pressure quickly. I don't mind wasting the 2 cards. We want to keep him alive. We'll play her for 1. So that leaves me with 5 Dawn. We'll play Lim and pull in an Enel. I think, yeah. And then now that we have the 3 characters on board, we'll swing for 6, drawing a card with Sabo's ability. And then attach the last 2 Dawn to Lim and swing for 7. And I know though Lim's ability gives us a lot of options, it's just important to think ahead. Don't just rush into playing characters. Just make sure each move counts and that you're setting up for future turns. Oh, okay. So our looks like he conceded. We'll just move on to the next match. But what I was saying, don't just rush into playing characters. Make sure you're setting up for future turns. So with that last game, what I was trying to do is, I mean, if you saw, build up a board, maybe try and get a blocker out there, because by whatever turn you have your 9 or 10 Dawn, you want to get that Zoro out there. And if you can have him on the board, remember he does enter rested, so we need a blocker to be able to take the next opponent's hit. Because most of the time, if someone sees that Zoro on the field rested, they're going to go all in and then take him off. All right, so we have. It might be best to play. Yeah, we'll do the Sabo. Hard choice because the blocker is a good choice. I can always play the blocker next turn. Um, but like talk about common mistakes when using Lim. A lot of players might get too excited and overextended. Um, and overextend by playing too many characters at once. So he just tried to remove one cost Lim. Her ability lets me. Oh, I'm gonna have to take that. So I can choose. I should have rested the Sabo. Actually, I wasn't thinking there. That would have been able to let me keep her on the board. So I've got 6 done. Actually, I can. It might be best to swing with Sabo first, then play a Nell to get his ability. Or oh, here we go. Here's a rested. We'll play a Nell for his ability, and select 2 cards to trash. Let's get rid of one of the Zoros. We don't need 2. Now I have 2 2K counters in hand. Swing for 6, and then that lets me draw another card. And we'll just go ahead and remove him off the board. But yeah, back to what I was saying. I know when I first started playing with this deck, I would get too excited, and I would definitely play characters too quickly and not really thinking about the long-term strategy. And I think it's just be mindful and balance your offense and defense accordingly. Draw. We have our 9. So we do have one blocker on the field. So let's just go actually all in on the character. So that way the benefit is they can either try and keep it alive and remove cards from the hand, which that's what happened. Not sure what. I don't. I'm not sure why I did that. I thought maybe he would have re-stood up. I didn't. I forget. I do want to keep him alive. So he pulled the blocker off. Okay, so there. Um, yeah, I lost him. So that's expected. They'll do whatever they can. So we'll freeze and let's swing for 5. And we'll go for 6 at leader. I think I got lucky with the Don Quixote Don Flamingo. Um, yeah, I'm wondering what Hancock's gonna do here. Okay, so I'm just not 100. I'm not familiar with this leader. Sometimes that can throw me off. So we'll deploy, not using ability. Um, yeah, maybe we should play both blockers. I have one 2K counter in hand. Attach our last Dawn and just swing for 6. We'll swing for 6 again with a Nell, and then we'll swing for 10 with Don Quixote. And maybe I've put enough pressure on to be able to let him remove my board, and yeah, we'll just see how it goes. The goal is to keep a few of these characters alive long enough to be able to swing. We'll set this one as active and maybe 2K out of the other. Yeah, that's cool. Now I got no cards in hand. What did he just play? What is this character? So he's got a double attack, but he can't attack on the turn he was played, can he? OP-02. Alright. Again, not familiar with this deck. Okay. I'm surprised that they quit. Oh, maybe they thought they'd get rushed. I'm not sure. We won't hold back. Just move on to the next match. I don't think that these two matches have been a good. Yeah, this. I don't think this is a good example on how to use this deck yet. But so this should be a good match. Trafalgar Law is a very another challenging leader for me. Until I learn the new OP-10 leaders, I think I'll be struggling a little bit. I tend to I went back to OP-9 for this leader. I've been wanting to play with her for a while. But turn one, we have Lim. This is a perfect start to the match. So I in turn and unrest the character. And we have, all right, rest 3, gain 1, and we'll play the Sabo. Swing for 5 at leader. All right. And we unrest Sabo with the limb. So one cost limb lets us unrest any Odyssey character at the end of our turn. Alright, so he swings for 6, and I've got a 2k blocker, so we'll use the ace. So he's got another blocker. Unfortunate I do not have a Edward Newgate. That'd be really cool, but that's fine. We'll just play the Don Quixote Don Flamingo for 3 Don. That leaves me with 3, so I'll just attach 1 to Sabo. Swinging for 7. I'll actually swing with Lim just to have another rested character on board, so that way when I swing with Sabo, I can get his draw. And then we'll attach 2 to Lim here and swing for 7 again. Alright. So we unrest him with his ability and then Lim with her ability. If he targets Sabo, that's fine. That's just one less attack onto my leader. So Cavendish came out. And it looks like he'll swing for 6, maybe. We definitely. Who will I use as the counter? Because I definitely am not gonna lose Sabo, so we'll just use the Sabo counter. Alright. Draw Dawn. We're sitting at. So I think we are now at 9 Dawn. I could play. Let's see. Okay, this will be fun. I think instead of playing my 9 costs, I may show Dracula Mihawk's ability. 5, 6, 7, 8. So I could play two. I could play two Odyssey characters, the two 5 cost, or I could play the 1 9 cost. We'll play Dracula and then Unrest my Don Flamingo, and we'll swing again for 6. And so that could be synergized very well. Like, just know if you had a lot of more Dawn attached to that character, they'd be able to swing a little bit heavier. But we'll swing again for 7. Again, drawing another card with his ability. That's because the 3 rested characters are there. And honestly, because of that, we're going to go ahead and play him again, unresting Sabo, and then we'll swing with Sabo. Sabo doesn't get to draw again. It's just once per turn. And then we'll swing for 5. And I'm hoping, like, this is the capabilities behind Lim. She just, it's the whole board should be built up by this late or this. I mean, it's not too late in the game, but I've got a full board, feeling pretty comfortable, and just with most ease, I'm just swinging a lot. I try to put 1 Dawn on each of my 6,000 power characters. So imagine I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. If they all were to survive next turn, I would attach 1 Dawn to all 4 of them, and that's 4 characters swinging for 7,000 power, and then the other 2 Dawn maybe going on my leader, also swinging for 7,000. So that's going to be a total of 6 Dawn, and then however you want to manage that last 4 Dawn, you could, depending on what our draw was. It's always smart maybe getting a blocker out there. But yeah, we'll give it to him. I'm curious to see. Now this, not to be, I don't want to come off as overconfident, because that's gotten me in pretty messy situations and tournaments where I for sure thought I had the win, and then I just made stupid plays because of that. Just remember, always have a plan for the future and be prepared for the worst. So we got a blocker. Okay. Is there only 1 blocker out there? No, we got 2. So this is hard. So with 2 blockers, I'd like to take this game. Let's go 7 at leader. I don't know why he swung with a. He'd be in a lot better situation if he had 3 blockers. He got, and if you have that low of life, you should definitely be a little bit more mindful of your Dawn management. All right. So we got 1 blocker left on field. And the last 2 will go on Sabo, swinging for 8. I mean, he could have 2K counters. 1, 2. So we got 6. So that's 1K, 7, 8, 9. So he gave 4 cards. Dang. Okay. So we'll unrest him and unrest Sabo. I haven't lost a single life yet, so I'm feeling pretty good, especially going against a leader who can ramp up life and take away mine. Like, let's say he had the 8 cost Oostis Kid on the yellow that you can rest and it removes a life. End of turn, you can draw a card and trash a card from hand. So we're going to start giving him life. I feel pretty comfortable. Okay. What do we have here? We have 1. Oh, that's right. We have Oostis Kid. I'm going for a gamble, hoping that he doesn't have a counter here. So he did. That's unfortunate, but at least I know the next. So he's got a blocker and a blocker, so he can take. Super unfortunate. Let's see what he does here. Blocker. Okay, and that lets him draw. See, I was hoping that he would have not. Okay. Trying to think of what I should do here. Let's get a Sabo out there. If anything, they will target the Sabo. That's one less head to attack my leader. That Eustace kid is definitely a formidable. What a formidable card. I've thought about putting him in this deck, taking out maybe the 10 cost Don Quixote, Don Flamingos that lets you freeze 3 characters or leader. So on play, alright, so he had a supernova that goes to life. So this has been pretty challenging to not fun. How am I gonna deal with this? 7 on Sabo, so let's get rid of 2 cards. 9, I'm assuming he'll swing for 9 at Sabo. So he's got a Jory Bonnie blocker and the Eustace kid still on board. Alright. So I've got an Edward Newgate, so I'm thinking we're gonna use him to that wasn't smart of me actually. Because I didn't have any rested characters. I got overzealous and I went to play the Edward Newgate. So that's unfortunate. We have to take an Odyssey. That's not a limb, so that was a bust there. Let's just go ahead. Man, that really messes up. Had I managed my Dawn properly, I would have been able to swing with more than just the... and he may have that counter card. Yeah, he does. So there's nothing else we can do with this turn. That was a... Let's just hope that our... We'll see what happens. He's got 3 big bodies on board and a leader. He could attach all Dawn to the leader. Maybe swing for 9, 9, and 8. I've got 1 blocker, 2 life, and I'm not really able to counter out of that. So a 9. Let's take it. Alright, so I got 2 2k counters and a 1k counter in hand. Wondering what this next life is. He's swinging for 10, so we'll also... actually, I can't counter out of that. I could use the blocker. Yeah. Alright, that's our last life, and it's another 2k counter. That's awesome. So, 5, 11. I'm at 12,000 power I can block out of. So we're going to use that. I don't think he saw this coming. This is luck here. And draw a card. Whoop. It looks like he quit. Alright. So, has all 3 of my opponents conceded on me? That's something. Now, so let's see. Ooh, that's scary. So I guess the trick with a nail, build up your board like you're like any other match, but we definitely want to utilize her ability to swing fast and quick. Um, be mindful of maybe triggers with Anel. Be mindful of his ability at the end there. He definitely wants you to take his life early game. Um, so off the back, we would want to use her leader ability and put the Don Flamingo out there and then swing for 5. More than likely, he'll take it. I should have swung with the leader first because a trigger could take out my character that I just put out on the field. So always remember, if you have nothing on the field and you're going against someone with triggers, um, or a color that you are familiar with that uses triggers, definitely swing with leader, then play the character from the hand. All right, so he went all in as expected. We'll attach 2 here, 1 to him, so we're swinging 2 times with 7. And I want him to see that we're swinging 2 times with 7, so that way he's more likely to counter out of hand. I don't, some, it's a little, maybe not. There we, so he took it, and then the he beiged me. So select 2 cards to trash. I'll probably trash, I should trash a Zoro and a Don Flamingo, but we'll just go this direction. So we're at 6 Dawn. Next turn we'll be at 8. And that was our turn 3, so turn 4 I'll have 8 Dawn. Or 9 if I use leader ability, depending on what I do. What I'm thinking is using the Dracul Mihawk. I'm wondering what he's doing. He's taking a little bit of time. 4, 5, 6. Okay, so he made a move. He probably might have a rush character in there. Maybe he's baiting me to use my blocker. I may actually just take this. Yeah, take the card to hand. I am up on life. Um, oh, okay. Didn't see that coming. Ooh, okay. So maybe I should have used the blocker. It's hard to say. In hindsight, that's never healthy. But since I do have a blocker on field, I'm going for it. I do want to shoot in and see if I can't get a Zoro out there and just start swinging heavy. As long as I got 3 active Dawn, I can swing 3 times with Zoro. Alright, last attack. We go 6 at leader. Need 2Ks counters out of it, and we'll end turn, setting our blocker back active. So if oh did um man, I'm surprised he didn't send him to the bottom. If it was eight costs or under, that's right. Okay. Um, but that's fine. I feel that's good. I'm happy with it. We'll go Trafalgar Law to counter out of the 5K, and if he swings at my leader, he can take the life with her, but he may go after Enel. Yeah. So thankfully, we've got the counter out for that. This really worked out in our favor here. Draw a card, draw Dawn, and let's go ahead. Nine. So we'll swing for 12 at leader. Use his ability resetting Zoro active for one Dawn. Now we'll attach one here. Swing for 7 at leader. We'll go 8. Keeping my last 2 Dawn for my Zoro, so I'll swing 2 more times with Zoro. He can have 2K counters, but I don't know that. Let's see, if I take that life, he adds another. If I take that life, I need one more hit. So, okay. It really came down to that. So he's going to use his leader ability, and then I will swing for the 12. Um, if he had 2 of those event cards, that's 6. Yeah, there's no way to counter out, and I think this may be game. All right. I think let's do one more. We'll do one more match, um, and then we'll call it after this. All right. So if you notice, I think if I choose, I go first. And I don't. I know maybe other strategies, other players, whatever they decide, that's on them. But since I ramp up Dawn, I think a lot of purple players tend to go first. Just that helps with the aggro, especially with playing with Lim here. So, and if you notice, every turn one, if I have the opportunity, I go Lim. Uh, the one cost because she resets herself active, and it gives us the advantage to be able to not lose characters quickly. And as always, my turn 2, I tend to play a character that does not have an on play effect. And unless sometimes if I went second and so they'll have their 3 cost blocker on the field, then maybe I'll rest the 1 cost limb and then play at Edward Newgate, resting and KOing that character off the board. But we'll use her ability and set him as active. Another thing that could work is if she was rested, his ability would set him active, and then with her ability you can set her active. Okay, 1K counter out, and there's 2 3 costs. If I had an Edward Newgate, that'd be nice to remove one of them off the board. Um, I could have also, let's see, I got 6. So right off the back, I think I will use the leader ability And we'll play the Dracula Mihawk to unrest him, attaching 1, and then now we'll swing for 7 again. And then the last 2 Dawn we attach to Limb, swinging for 7 again. So early game, this pretty much prevents them from setting up a good hand, maybe getting rid of counter cards that they didn't maybe want to. But here we are on turn 3, and Smoker's already 2 hit points down. So we lost our blocker. That's unfortunate because next turn I was gonna play Zoro, and we'll take that. So let's see what we can do. In a situation like this is where this is why I think it's great that we don't run too many. Because if you notice in any of these matches, I don't know if I played him maybe but once. But swing for 7. We will attach 1, swing for 6 onto the 4. If he's smart, he would use the blocker, I think. Depending on what. Nah, because I think she's got an on KO. Yeah. And then we'll set our non-cost as active, and I keep the the unrested Dawn because that synergizes off of his ability. Pretty much, it's a 2K counter. So he'll have 1 Dawn attached to Eustace Kid here. That means he'll be the target. So we'll need to be swinging for 8. Let's just use his. No. We'll just use the 1K counter. And let's see who swings next. So we're at 6. He's swinging for 7. Okay. That's cool. So we'll use the ability. Go up. I think I may. Draw a card. So we'll go 9 at Kid here. We'll attach. What will I do? 6. So we've got 7 here. Swing for leader. Up. Oh yeah, I forget. Dang it. So he'll need a 2K counter to get out of it, or two 2K counters, or a 2K and a 1K. And then let's attach 3 here, and we'll use ability, bringing him out in turn, setting him active. Yeah, those Eustace kids can be very challenging to. What a wall! Because I mean, he is 8,000 power. You're forced to swing at him, and I often forget, like I did with Dracula Mihawk. Since we got it, we might as well. And he'll probably swing at him, so let's get that. And then 1, 2, we'll take 2 more, but we pretty much have to end it on this round. I don't know how we would survive another round, so he needs a 2K counter. Alright, so he doesn't have a 2K. So this is a crazy gamble. We're going 6. He doesn't have a 2K. So now he's got 2 cards. This is a crazy gamble. We're just going to attach the 2, swing. This will be either game. All right. So he had one 2K counter in hand, and then another Oostis kid. So, all right. So there you have it. Lim is an incredibly versatile leader, and when used correctly, she can dominate your opponents in OP-10. Whether you're playing aggressively or setting up for a longer strategy, I think her leader ability is very flexible and adapts to a lot of situations. But if you like this video, make sure to give a thumbs up, leave a comment with any questions, and don't forget to subscribe for more One Piece or Pokemon TCG content. Thank you. Until next time.